infamous Belle Gunness, the Lady Bluebeard mystery. In the quiet town of Porte, Indiana, in the early 1900s, a farmhouse burned to the ground. Inside the charred remains, investigators found a decapitated body surrounded by shallow graves filled with human remains. The owner of the farmhouse, a woman named Belle Gunness, a seemingly innocent widow and loving mother. But beneath that facade lurked a darkness so chilling she earned the nickname Lady Bluebeard. Today, we uncover the twisted tale of Belle Gunness, a woman whose charm masked unspeakable crimes. Was she a cold-blooded killer, a master manipulator, or something even more terrifying? Let's unravel the mystery of one of America's most notorious, yet least talked about serial killers. Scene 1. The Making of a Monster. 2 and 3, which is 8 colors. Narration. Belle Gunness was born Brynhild Paulsdatter Storseth on November 11, 1859, in Selbu, Norway. The youngest of 8 children in a family of poor tenant farmers, she grew up in a harsh environment where survival was a daily struggle. By the age of 14, Brynhild was working on neighboring farms, herding cattle and milking cows, determined to save enough money to escape the confines of her rural upbringing. But it wasn't just poverty that shaped her early years. There's a chilling story often whispered in connection to Belle's youth. At 17, she attended a country dance while pregnant. There, she was brutally attacked by a man who kicked her in the abdomen, causing her to miscarry. The man, reportedly from a wealthy family, faced no consequences for his actions. According to local law, he died mysteriously not long after. Some say he was poisoned. Whether true or embellished by time, this incident marked a significant change in Brynhild. Some believe it was her first act of calculated revenge. In 1881, driven by ambition and perhaps by darker motivations, she emigrated to the United States, joining her sister Nellie in Chicago. She adopted the name Belle and worked as a domestic servant before finding employment in a butcher's shop, where she became skilled at cutting animal carcasses. This detail seems eerily relevant when you consider what would come later. Settling in Chicago, Belle married Mads Sorensen. Together, they had several children, but tragedy struck repeatedly. Caroline and Axel Sorensen died in infancy under mysterious circumstances, with symptoms resembling poisoning. Belle collected life insurance payouts for both. Later, 2 more children, Myrtle and Lucy, survived into childhood, but their fate would become intertwined with Belle's dark legacy. Belle also adopted Jenny Olsen, believed to be her niece, and had a son named Philip with her second husband, Peter Gunness. Sadly, none of these children are believed to have survived Belle. In 1908, when Belle's farmhouse burned to the ground, investigators found the remains of 3 children, presumed to be Myrtle, Lucy, and Philip, inside the charred structure. Jenny Olsen's body was later discovered buried on Belle's property, suggesting she had been killed before the fire. After Mads' death, Belle moved to Porte, Indiana, buying a farmhouse with the insurance money. There, she began a new chapter and a new string of victims. The farm of horrors. Belle Gunness placed personal ads in newspapers seeking wealthy suitors. She promised companionship, love, and prosperity on her picturesque farm. Men traveled from across the country eager to start a new life with her, but they never returned. Among her suitors was Ole B. Budsberg, an elderly widower from Wisconsin. He was last seen alive at the Laporte Savings Bank on April 6, 1907, withdrawing a large sum of money. His sons were unaware of his visit to Belle's farm until after his disappearance. John Moo of Elbow Lake, Minnesota, left his wife and 3 children to answer Belle's matrimonial ad. He brought over $1,000 to her farm in 1906 and was never seen again. George Anderson, hailing from Tarkio, Missouri, visited Belle to discuss marriage. One night, he awoke to find her standing over him, a sinister expression on her face. Feeling uneasy, he fled the farm immediately, making him one of the few suitors to escape her deadly intentions. Then there was Andrew Helgelian from Aberdeen, South Dakota. Lured by Belle's promises, he arrived in January 1908 with a substantial amount of cash. Concerned when he stopped writing, his brother, Asle Helgelian, investigated and ultimately helped uncover the gruesome truths of the Gunness-a farm. These victims are just to name a few. Neighbors grew suspicious of Belle's revolving door of suitors, but she was charming and persuasive. Whenever questioned, she had explanations. The men had gone west, they had changed their minds, or they simply moved on. Few questioned her further. Belle's farmhand, Ray Lamphere, played a crucial role in this dark tale. Ray was infatuated with Belle, and some speculate they had a romantic relationship. However, Belle's manipulative nature kept Ray under her control, using him when it suited her and discarding him when she grew bored. His jealousy of the many men visiting the farm created tension, leading to erratic behavior and confrontations. In 1908, Belle's farmhouse erupted in flames. Inside, authorities found there was the decapitated body of a woman, presumed to be Belle, along with the bodies of her children. However, something didn't add up. The body didn't match Belle's size and stature. As investigators dug deeper, literally, they uncovered a gruesome discovery. Shallow graves scattered across the farm, filled with dismembered remains. All told, the remains of more than 40 men and children were exhumed. Ray Lamphere was arrested and charged with arson. Under questioning, he confessed that Belle had staged her death, decapitated another woman to fake her demise, and vanished into the night. Ray's obsession with Belle, mixed with his resentment, painted him as both an accomplice and a pawn in her deadly game. Unanswered questions and theories. What happened to Belle Gunness? Did she perish in the fire or did she escape, leaving a trail of bodies behind? Reports of Belle's sightings surfaced for years after her supposed death. Some claimed she fled to Chicago. Others believed she escaped to California under an alias. The investigation following the fire raised more questions than answers. Authorities struggled to identify the decapitated body, noting inconsistencies in height, weight, and even dental records. Despite extensive efforts, no conclusive evidence proved the body belonged to Belle. Ray Lamphere's deathbed confession added more fuel to the fire. He claimed Belle was alive, thriving somewhere far from Porte, her crimes buried beneath the ashes of her farmhouse. According to Ray, Belle meticulously planned her escape, orchestrating the fire and murder of an innocent woman to cover her tracks. Theories abound. Was Belle a psychopath driven by greed, murdering for insurance money and personal gain? Or was she a product of her time, exploiting a society that underestimated women's capacity for violence? Some speculate she continued her killing spree under a new identity, blending into society unnoticed. The case files reveal missed opportunities, overlooked evidence, conflicting witness statements, and a lack of forensic technology that could have provided definitive answers. Modern forensic techniques, like DNA analysis, could have unraveled the truth. But in Belle's time, such tools were non-existent. Each theory seems to answer one question while raising another, leaving us with more mysteries than solutions. Community reactions and public fascination. The community of Porte was forever scarred by the horrors uncovered on Belle's farm. Neighbors who once considered her a charming widow were now grappling with the revelation of a monstrous killer living in their midst. News of the murders spread rapidly, and soon, Belle's farmhouse became a morbid tourist attraction. Crowds gathered to witness the site where dozens of bodies were unearthed. Some came out of curiosity, others driven by fear, unable to reconcile the woman they knew with the killer she had become. Newspapers sensationalized Belle's crimes, dubbing her Lady Bluebeard after the infamous folktale character who murdered his wives. Headlines painted her as both a cunning villain and an almost mythical figure, a woman who defied societal expectations in the most grotesque way. The legacy of Belle Gunness-a, or victim. Belle Gunness remains an enigma, a woman who defied expectations and left behind a legacy of horror. Her story challenges the stereotypes of what a killer looks like, blurring the lines between victim, villain, and survivor. Her ability to manipulate and deceive, even under the scrutiny of a close-knit community, reveals a dark genius. Belle weaponized societal norms that viewed women as nurturing caregivers, hiding her crimes in plain sight. It's a chilling reminder of how appearances can mask unimaginable darkness. To this day, the true fate of Belle Gunness is unknown. Did she die in that farmhouse, or did she live out her days under a new name, her crimes buried along with the bodies she left behind? The mystery endures, as chilling now as it was over a century ago. Your thoughts? Share them. What do you think happened to Belle Gunness? Was she a criminal mastermind who escaped justice, or did she meet her end in the flames she set herself? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you're captivated by stories of history's darkest figures, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Join me next time on Mysteriophiles as we continue to explore the shadows of the past.